Good morning, class 12. Let's start. Today I'm going to discuss about crystal field theory. Now this theory was given by Bethe and Van Vleck. The assumptions under this theory are as follows. First one, the transition metal acts as a central cation and the ligands donate lone pair of electrons to the vacant orbitals of the metals. Next, the ligands are considered as point charges. Then the next point is the bond between the metal and the ligand is purely ionic. So the electrostatic attraction between the metal and the ligand may be either ion-ion attraction in case of anionic ligand or ion dipole attraction in case of your neutral ligand. There exists repulsion between the lone pair electrons of the ligand and the valence electrons of the metals, as a result of which the valence electrons of the metals occupy those d orbitals which are not in the direction of the approaching ligands, as a result of which the degeneracy of the d orbital is lost. The crystal field depends on number of the approaching ligands and the geometry of the central metal ion. The last point under this theory is the magnetic behavior of the complex depends on the crystal field splitting. Greater the crystal field splitting, lesser the number of the unpaired electrons and vice versa. Okay, these are the following assumptions which are made by the scientists under this theory. Now next we come to orientation of the d orbitals. Now overall we have 5 d orbitals. What are they? We have dx square minus y square, dz square, dxy, dyz and dxz. These are the following d orbitals. Now we need to know that this dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals, these orbitals are present along the axis, and the other 3 orbitals, they are present between the axis. Now their location is very important when the ligands are approaching. Present between the axis. The axis, when we say, we are talking about the 3-dimensional geometry of the complex. We are talking about the coordinate axis, that is x, y and z axis we are talking about. Now what happens in free state? All the metal d orbitals have same energy, that means the orbitals are degenerate. Okay, now as the ligands approach the metal ion, the degeneracy of the d orbitals no longer exists, and if the ligand approaches the metal ion along the axis, then due to repulsion, the energy of these 2 d orbitals, that is dz square and dx square minus y square, will be increasing if the ligands are approaching along the axis. While if the ligands are approaching a metal ion between the axis, then what will happen? The energy of these 3 orbitals will be increasing, right? And we need to know that the ligands approach the metal ion along the axis when it is an octahedral complex, and ligands approach a metal ion between the axis when the geometry is tetrahedral, right? So conversion of 5 degenerate d orbitals into 2 sets of d orbitals having different energy is known as crystal field splitting. Means initially all the 5 d orbitals were degenerate. Now as the ligands are approaching, the energy of some d orbitals are increasing while energy of some other d orbitals are decreasing. So basically there is splitting of the orbitals. So this is only known as crystal field splitting. Now overall we have 2 types of electrostatic interaction. First one is attraction between the central cation and the negatively charged ligand or negative ends of a polar ligand. Next we have repulsion between the valence electrons of the metal and the lone pair electrons of the ligand, right? Now due to these 2 interactions, the electric field that is generated, that is only known as crystal field, right? Now next we have Pauli's electroneutrality principle. Now Pauli's was the one who gave VBT concept. Now Pauli basically told that the electrons should be distributed in molecule in such a way so that the residual charge on each atom will be either 0 or close to 0, except hydrogen and most positive metals will be acquiring partial positive charge, and most electronegative atoms will be acquiring partial negative charge. Now basically, Pauli told that the bonding between the metal and the ligand is not purely covalent, but it is partially ionic. He also said when sigma bond is formed between the ligand and the metal, then excess negative charge accumulation occurs on the metal atom. Now, to avoid that excess negative charge on the metal, because we know that metals are electropositive, right? So to avoid the excess negative charge on the metal will be donating its electron to the ligand orbitals via pi bond. That means initially ligand to metal sigma bond occurs. Now when this kind of bond is happening, there is excess negative charge on the metal. Now this negative charge has to be avoided. Anyhow it has to be removed. So metal what is doing, it is donating this excess electrons to the ligand orbitals via the pi back donation. Okay, so this is what we have. So that's it, class 12. Thank you.